season, y'all.
Are you really ready to see that vision?
We'll give you complete creative control.
I want it in writing.
See, he gets a contract.
Suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And that's what Christmas is all about.
You hear that, boy? That's what Christmas is all about.
Actually, Granddad, Christmas is a pagan holiday, and Jesus probably hates you for celebrating it.
There ain't gonna be no Scrooges in this house, boy.
Look, Granddad, it's clear from the scripture that Jesus was not born in winter. The shepherds who saw the angels announcing his birth would not have been out in their fields in December. The Palestinian winters are too cold, if you believe in that sort of thing. The truth is, Christmas evolved from the Roman holiday Saturnalia, a winter festival where men gave gifts to each other. They also would get drunk, have sex with each other, and beat their wives. People would act so crazy on Christmas, the holiday was outlawed by the Protestant Church until the 1800s. As a matter of fact, the United States Congress...
I'm sorry, this show is hilarious!
Granddad!
I'm sorry, boy. What was that?
I just explained the entire history of Christmas.
But it was boring.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Huey. You just blah, blah.
It is
blah, blah.
Not just Jehovah's Witnesses who know the truth about that pagan holiday, but everybody wants to celebrate that pagan holiday. Why? Because it brings families together. Oh, you created an excuse for it. Shame on you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why Jehovah's Witnesses are being persecuted in other lands, because we expose the truth about this so-called system in which we live. The hypocrisy. Now, like what I'm doing right now, ladies and gentlemen, 1099-C, you will find very little information about the 1099-C on what's required of a person who is required to file Form 1099-C. This is for the creditor. This is for the cool. This is for the cool. Oh. Okay, so this is for you all. Now, this video that we're doing now, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, ladies and gentlemen, in my background. This information right here is what I do. Give you guys information. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to know, what I want you all to know is that I'll be doing a video very shortly. That video will be covering certain information that will be beneficial to each of you. Okay? It will be giving information about the new program that we're going to be offering at SACOM, where we're going to be helping individuals complete certain papers and paperwork for their 1099-Cs. We're going to be starting a program where we're going to be doing just that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is taken from Freedom School. Got a court case? Need some help with your court case? Well, why don't you try going to freedomschool.com and reading articles such as this. Challenge the law by demanding certification. You have the right to do this. Every state has a statute which says that you have the right to challenge the statute, because statutes are not law. So have them bring certification showing that that is law. But do your research on what constitutes law. Talk about the supreme law of the land. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact that, as I've shown you on video, every state is to have a Bill of Rights that mirrors the Bill of Rights for the United States. Because every state is required to have a Bill of Rights that mirrors the Bill of Rights for the United States, that shows that the Bill of Rights is the supreme law of the land. Did you hear that? Since every state is required to have a Bill of Rights that mirrors the Bill of Rights for the United States, the Bill of Rights is the supreme law of the land. Every state is not required to have a 10th, 11th, and 14th Amendment. Those are not law. The supreme law of the land is the law. The articles of the Constitution are not law. So when we talk about the supreme law of the land, it is the Bill of Rights. Now, here's the thing for everybody to understand. Let's do this right now. Before we go on, And I do want you guys to understand something. They tell you that the common law is the stupid court cases that the courts have created over the centuries. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lie. Have you heard of something known as common law marriage? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody's heard of common law marriage? I am Totawi. Totawi. I apologize. Well, ladies and gentlemen, common law marriage did not start in England. It did not start in Rome. If you go back through scripture, you saw that there's a guy named Boaz. And do you know who I'm talking about? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Ruth. Ruth and Boaz, by brother-in-law marriage, married each other by her going to his tent and spending the night with him by uncovering his feet. They do the whole ritual there showing you about common law marriage. It was common law because it came from the common scripture of the day. I'm trying to create another link here, and I think it is going to let me do it, but it just going a little slow. So I got to wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. So we know that common law is not case law. We know that the original common law was exactly what was explained from the very beginning. It was those 10 so-called commandments. Why? Because those 10 commandments, like, what did Jesus say about the 10 commandments? What did he say? Did he not say that they were perfect? That the law was perfect. Okay? And it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with the law, the 10 commandments. They were perfecto. Okay? It's not going to let me drop the page. It's supposed to just let me drag and drop. I think it'll let me do it now. It just took forever. See, but it's showing it over here when it should be over here. And I don't understand that. So I just hope it'll do what it's supposed to do and keep doing what it do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it. So let's do this right here. We're going to just type it in and just go on and just go on with the going on. Then I'm going to show you about that article because that article is very important. So that's what I'm going to do. So it did move it all the way down here. It wants to play with me, and I don't like playing games. Don't know why it wants to play games. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do is I want to show you the origins of common law. When the courts are speaking of common law, they're not talking about the common law of the Bible. The courts are talking about the common law that they created. We did not adopt the common law of England like they want so many people to believe. That is a lie. The Americans, so-called these newfound New Worlders, they would not have adopted the common law of England because England was ran by the king. And they never would have succumbed to some new rules established by the king in the new land. Remember, they were escaping that old land and its old rules and mundane principles. So let's see, THEHISTORYCOMMNLAW. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do y'all hear that song in my background? This is the Dells. A heart is a house for love. Now, see, common law was named because it was common to all the king's courts across England. The people never would have adopted that, ever. This thing wants us to believe that common law, when I refer to common law marriage, that it all started in England, and that's a lie. Okay, common law did not start in no stupid England. That is a bunch of bull. Okay, talking about the Middle Ages. There is no way in the world the people would have adopted that junk that went on through the Middle Ages. We all know how turbulent of a time that was. The king ruled during that time. The people would never have accepted such a thing. So I am glad that we have this junk that says the common law is those court cases of the king's court. There is no way in the world the people ever would have suggested such a thing. Okay? Let me do something. You see how this stuff is all talking about Anglo-American legal system institutions, blah, blah, blah? So let's do something, because I just wanted the history of the common law, and I thought it was actually going to give us that history. So watch this. Watch this. It doesn't come free. No, we're not going to do biblical. We're going to do ROMAN. History of the Roman common law. Uh-oh, did I put a 5? 55. You can't drive 55. You cannot drive 55. Give me 1 second to get rid of that 2 5s. If it lets me, because it ain't responding, y'all. Because see that right there? It ain't responding because of that. Somebody help them learn. Because it don't take much to... Uh-oh. Gotta get rid of this. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all excuse me for 1 second. I have to talk to this person. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a SATCOM call. So I do apologize to you guys for that. What I am finding is that, because in here now I put in the Roman common law. Okay, how did common law originate? This thing is going to talk about British common law. See, what is the origin of British common law? What is the historical significance of common law? Then it talks about who was the founder of the English common law. We are not talking about common. You all must understand. When they talked about common law in the Constitution, it had nothing to do with the common law of England. See, now it's talking about a common law court looks to pass procedural decisions. Yeah, really. Since when? They didn't do that in England. Now, wait, hold on. Let me make sure you guys understand what I'm trying to get you to understand. If England had a common law, pay attention. If England had a common law, then what did they rely on for their common law? They rely on court cases? Then that's not common law. That's stare decisis. That's court precedent. It's not common law. There's something completely different about that. Just like common law marriage. Common law marriage had nothing to do with the court system. See, this stuff just keeps talking about the English common law, which is why I put in Roman common law. Okay? So I put in the history of the Roman common law, and they want to refer to it as civil law. Okay, so let's do this, because we did this before, and we're going to just cover this just for a moment, okay? How did common law begin in Australia? Because it came from England. That one did come from England. Okay, now, don't care about that. Don't care about that. Oh, so this still did the same thing. This still did that. Oh, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is not coming up the way it's supposed to is because it still had that 55 junk in it. And that's my fault. Okay. Roman law. The Roman law was the legal system of ancient Rome. Really? Man, that's interesting. Lord have mercy. Look, the Roman so-called empire lasted for over 1,000 years. Now, we know that the Roman Empire lasted from at least 3 BCE until 100 or 1000 AD. So it was over 1,000 years. Okay? So with that be, and it actually still exists today because that's where the church is for Catholicism, the so-called universal church. Okay, Rome influenced too many places, too many lands, because they controlled so much. Don't care about how Roman law originated, but most of the laws of England came from Rome. Rome had a parliament, England had a parliament. Okay, look at that. Founded of a city in 756 BCE until the fall of the Western Empire in the 5th century CE. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make sure you guys understand Rome was nothing in 753 BCE. That was Nebuchadnezzar's day. He was the king of Babylon during that period. And after him, it was the Medo-Persian Empire. And after the Medo-Persian Empire, then the Romans stepped in. Oh no, the Grecian Empire. Sorry, the Grecian Empire stepped in. Grecian Empire lasted for over 2 centuries. Then Rome came in after the Grecian Empire. So 7 BCE, I don't know where they're getting this is Britannia. I don't know where they're getting that junk from. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar never would have allowed this little tiny little providence to rule anything. Okay, it is obvious that with the 300 Sparta, that the Medo-Persian Empire was in control. And then the Grecian Empire came into play. Nothing shows that Rome gave Alexander the Great any issue. Now, mind you, the Grecian Empire lasted for a minute, but Alexander the Great died at the age of 32. So he didn't really last that long. So what I'm suggesting is, ladies and gentlemen, you see what I'm doing is I'm talking about history. I'm not talking about this junk that's in these encyclopedias, because this contradicts the reality. Okay? So when they talk about common law, they are lying when they say it was court cases. Common law was never court cases. Go back and pay attention according to the rules of the common law. Well, court cases are not rules, people. Go back and look at the 7th Amendment. It specifically says according to the rules of common law. I didn't say that, so let me tell you where common law comes from. You don't mind? Man, if you stop yelling at us, we don't mind. No, I'm going to keep yelling at you, mother... Give me 1 second. I'm just going to type in Jewish common law. You see, when the Jews went to the oral law, that's when common law started. The oral law was them adding or expounding upon the law that was already there. Oops. They're going to say Jewish jurisprudence. Had nothing to do with Jewish jurisprudence. It had everything to do with the scriptures being the foundation of Jewish so-called law. Okay? And look at this. Here's a question. Does Israel follow the common law? Not the common law of England. Oh, God. Is based on common law. The Israeli legal system is based on common law. Talking about it incorporates that junk. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about this Israel. We're talking about the original Israel. Okay? Is common law and civil law the same? Of course not. But pay attention. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, so that you guys understand something. If they ran by the court cases of England, we're going to make this larger for y'all. If they went by the court cases of England saying that that was the common law, let's make sure the court cases weren't the common law. The main difference between the two systems is that common law countries, case law, is a form of published judicial opinion, is of primary importance, whereas the civil law system, codified statutes, predominates. In fact, many countries use a fixture of common and civil law. Ladies and gentlemen, if the United States adopted the so-called court opinions of England as their common law, do you know how stupid that would be? They were leaving that system. They were trying to get away from that system. These were religious people. Of course, they would have held on to scripture. Everything in those new colonies said everything about God and the Bible. The Declaration of Independence has God all throughout it. The Northwest Ordinance, the same thing. There is no way in the world they would have accepted the so-called court opinions of England because it didn't apply here in the new land. The court opinion in England was according to what the king said, the king's bench. So there was no way in the world that would have been the common law. But I do like the way that they have explained common law, okay? Because they created a new definition. Now, hold on. Common law. In thinking of law as something contained in codified text, most people have in mind what legal theorists call statutory law. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody cares about statutory law. We already know that statutes are not law, but the common law is the law of the land. Okay? Jewish law and abandonment of common law, the finder of loss, neither the author is well trained in legal history. And thus cannot claim that the blah, blah, blah. Okay, the return of lost property according to Jewish and common law. Ladies and gentlemen, of course the return of lost property according to Jewish and common law. Why? Because that was the common law. Okay, Jewish law and morals, 307. The common law is court-oriented. Really? 1961? And that was the Jews? That's interesting. That's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I am very upset with the way this junk is going right here. The origins of common law, conquest of England in 1066. They introduced an entirely new legal system to govern. There is no way in the world that the people would have accepted that. Sorry. I am just so disappointed that this junk is saying what it says. And I'm glad I didn't put, let's see. No, we're going to leave this alone. Because this research that I'm doing now, right here, is different from the one I did previously on the very same subject. So let's get rid of the history of, and we'll just put the common law of Jewish. Hey, you know, there's a sugar pie and there's a honey bunch, and somebody needs to know that somebody loves somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, the 40 tops, you know, because they drank stuff like that. Come on now. It don't want me to make it larger, y'all. No. This is the same junk, so I can't rely on that, so we're going to go here. I'll let that get bigger and bigger and bigger until the point where it takes up the whole screen. I just wish this would go to where it's supposed to go to so we can get on with the getting on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a court case, an outstanding court case, you need to go to freedomschool.com. If you have a tax-related issue, you need to go to Family Guardian. I believe it's familyguardian.org. But you need to go to Family Guardian for tax issues and Freedom School for court issues. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say that again. If you have a court-related issue, you need to go to Freedom School. Now, let's say you've already been convicted. Let's say you've been in jail 15 years and you never challenged the statute. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is this thing known as awareness. See, you document the fact that you just became aware of this. You explain how you became aware of it just now, and that the statute of limitation does not commence to run until you are aware of something. Ladies and gentlemen, codes are not law. Okay? Statutes are not law. Rules are not law. Regulations are not law. Ordinances are not law. Okay? Those things are not law. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So the Constitution is the law. They started adding in the laws of Congress. No, sorry. That's not the supreme law of the land because the Constitution doesn't say that. Okay. what they tell you, every state probably has somewhere in its codes a process to have state law certified as constitutional. Okay? A process to have state laws constitutional. So you'll have to do this research for your state. California, Florida, and the federal system has such a system. Hey, this is my boy Keith Sweat, and this is him saying that he'll give everything, everything. I mean, he'll give everything. Okay? Everybody said he's the sheep man. I don't think he's a sheep person. I like Keith Sweat. He has got some longevity and he can sing. Okay? And when this song came out, I promise you, the right sound system and everybody and their grandmama would hear you coming down the street. All right, let me just get on with this. This young lady writes about the courts, saying that she's brought forth this mechanism in court and gotten several cases dismissed as a result of bringing this in. If you have a previous case, I would suggest you do challenge the statute. It's the same as challenging a jurisdiction. If you want to bring this challenge after, so you have the two questions, do that as a separate motion. Ask for a new trial based upon new information that the code that was being used was never certified. That's all you got to do is say it was never certified. Put the onus of them to prove that it was. Okay, let's pay attention. But there is another description of government called also by publicists a government de facto, but which might perhaps be more aptly dominated, a government of paramount force. Its distinguished characteristics are that it exists to maintain and maintained by active military power within the territories, the very same one we have under the March 9, 1933 Act, also known as the Trading with the Enemies Act. We have proof that it is a military government that is existing right now, against the rightful authority of an established and lawful government. Ladies and gentlemen, do you not remember that Congress has given the president authority to rule this country? Okay, hold on. I understand. He wanted what? He wanted the love. All my dreams come true. Like I said, this is my boy, Keith Sweat, y'all. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I was waiting for this to pull up. I don't know why it took so long. Look, we gotta go here. 470. Ooh, no. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what I have typed in, I put a G instead of a V. That's because the V is under the G. I'm just waiting for it to catch up, so y'all just bear with me for just a second. I will take care of that give, because that's supposed to be give, not gig. I can make it feel real good. I can make it feel real good, baby. Sometimes I get so lonely. So low. Wait. How did I type all of that junk in and it only got that much? Oh, God. Hold on, y'all. Google. Pick up the phone. I'll be there. I'll be right there. Okay. These 470 statutes give the president extraordinary powers to rule this country without normal constitutional process. Oh, you know what? I didn't even see it typed it all up top. I would have just did the paste, but I don't look at the screen, y'all. Okay? I don't even look at the keyboard. I just type. Only to you, baby. Look at that. Studying emergency powers, published compilation of identifying some 470 provisions. Okay? This is the National Emergency Act that said that. There exist today some 470 provisions of federal law that give the executive branch extraordinary authority. Now, the executive branch, remember the Trading with the Enemy Act. This was said in 1976. It is referring to the Trading with the Enemy Act amendment of 1933 to rule this country with extraordinary powers. It is a military act, ladies and gentlemen, which means the president is ruling this country under military authority. That's why they fly the Admiralty flag, a military flag. Indiana education, y'all. Indiana University. EDU, education. Sorry, that's me yawning because I'm supposed to have stopped at 4:30 today. But this information I think is important. Most of you who need to file a motion, I would suggest you listen to the whole conversation so you'll know where you're standing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to know something while that's pulling up in my background.
We are young, product to product. We stand. No promises. No
Ladies and gentlemen, I call this my battle anthem. When I want to be hyped, I play Pat Benatar's Love is a Battlefield. Okay? Because it's just the energy of this song is, man, all hit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm downloading this. Okay, just type this in your computer, the National Emergencies Act of 1776, end of emergency government. It did not end emergency government. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention. It did not end emergency government. I want you to pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. It did not end emergency government. National emergency. I'm declaring a national emergency. Those are two very big words. National emergency. This phrase, this legal term, comes from the Trading with the Enemies Act. It did not end anything. The Trading with the Enemies Act is still enforceable. Look at all of the executive orders issued by Trump and how he kept documenting the Trading with the Enemies Act and the amendment to the Trading with the Enemies Act. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing is published 1977. Nothing has changed. You know, it's not going to let me because I'm waiting for it to download and it's got to pull up this little stupid window. And so it's going to make me wait. Okay, which is what I hate. I do hate it. It's about time. I don't know what you're taking your time for. Download my file, mother. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The computer don't know no better. It's stupid. Okay, it can't help it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it should be letting me type in here. So we're going to do Control F. Love is a battlefield. Okay, and we're going to do 470. Okay? LAWS. I think it says 470 statutes. It said it ain't found none, y'all. Oh, there it is. Some 470 separate statutes. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay? Well, why would you lose control, Pat? Ladies and gentlemen, in total, there exists today some 470 provisions of federal law that give the executive branch extraordinary authority in a time of national emergency. Well, the national emergency is still extant. The problem is that although the various crisis situations which have given rise to a declaration of national emergency have passed, a legal state of national emergency remains. This means that the executive branch has available on a daily basis the authority of some 470 separate statutes meant only to be available in a time of actual emergency conditions. It has been said that this vast range of powers, taken together, confer enough authority on the country. Authority. Where are we at? Uh-oh, it's now messing up. Stop it. It's moving on its own. Taken together, confer enough authority to rule, thank you, this country without normal constitutional processes. So a time of war, ladies and gentlemen, because the national emergency comes from the National Emergencies Act. Sorry, I just killed a fly that hit my screen. I didn't tell him to touch my screen. I did not give him permission. Okay. So the Special Senate Committee on National Emergency and Declaration of Emergency Powers, whose history will be discussed, concluded that they could not accept any doctrine which holds the nation in extremes must submit to the will of a single individual. Ladies and gentlemen, but they still discovered that this act and the Trading with the Enemies Act and the amendment of 1933 was still extant. They did not remove that. And by the way, I want you to pay attention. They continued the emergency through, watch this. Wait a minute, how is this? Oh, okay, I know why. We'll get rid of that and we'll get rid of this. I know you better bring back what I just had. Oh, you went all the way. Oh, that's right, because I did open up a new window. I'm sorry. What we're going to do is we're going to come back. Well, let's do this, because I'm going to keep it there. Because we'll be talking about this repeatedly, ladies and gentlemen. This thing right here, we're going to be talking about this repeatedly. Just want y'all to know. We're going to copy. I'm going to come back here. Together. No kind of way. Okay, we have this one we are going to do. You must have thrown a spell on my mind. Don't throw it. Don't throw it. No, don't throw it. Oh, God, you're going to hit somebody. Okay. And here, take a mint. You want to start blowing stuff. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, while that's doing what it do, I got to open up a new window because I got to talk to you about the National Defense of America Act. Okay, you guys know about the National Defense of America Act, the NDAA? Well, when you get a chance, do your research on the NDAA. It is a law. Trump threatened not to pass the NDAA, and Congress overrode the president and passed it anyway. You guys have to remember that. So let's do this. Uh-oh, this is my boy. This is Special Ed. NDAA, because he had a monster jam. This is a monster jam. Monster jam. Sorry. I'm a Special Ed fan, okay? Not a fanatic, just a fan. Aw. Let's do that right there. That's me drinking some agua. Well, no, it ain't agua. It's flavored water. What type of flavor is it? Alcohol? No, I don't drink alcohol, mother. Oh, I could have sworn differently listening to you the way you talk. Your mama. Yeah, my mama drinks too. She tells me you were one of her drinking buddies. Oh, God. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Senate turns to NDAA after a delinking of China's competition bill. Ladies and gentlemen, why did they go to the National Defense of America? Because that's the National Emergencies Continuation Act. that they started as a result of that meeting in 1977. National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022. And watch, Biden will sign this piece of junk. And normally they do it on December 31st. Okay? This passes every single year without let up. Why? Because the National Emergency Act of 1976, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. The National Emergencies Act of 1976 requires that the president apply yearly. If he doesn't apply yearly, then it cancels the emergency. So they make sure it gets signed every December 31st at 12 midnight. If the president refuses to sign it, the Senate will then override the veto and sign it anyway. Exactly what they just did when Trump was in office. Y'all really need to pay attention because this is what's going on. Why is this so important? Do you guys need to know why this is so important? Let me show it to you. There's a reason we took this trip, to prove something to you. But there's another description of government, called also by publicists a government of de facto, but which might perhaps be more aptly denominated, a government of paramount force, because it's ruled by military. Its distinguishing characteristics are: the existence is maintained by active military power, national emergency, NDAA, against the rightful authority of an established and lawful government. Hold on, we're gonna come back to that in a second. Let me take y'all back here. I don't know why it's taking so long, because we should have just jumped right on back over here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna remind y'all about those 470 laws and how it said it gave the president extraordinary authority to rule this country without normal constitutional process. You remember that? Separate statute meant only to be available in a time of actual emergency conditions. Well, they continue it year after year after year after year after year to take away your rights, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they suspended the Constitution. And they keep suspending it every year by signing the NDAA. That's what I do, people. I give you the pieces of the puzzle and I bring them together. Do you see how we're putting the puzzle together? So let's read the next one. It says, while it exists, it must necessarily be obeyed in civil matters by private citizens who, by acts of obedience, render in submission to such force, do not become responsible as wrongdoers for those acts, though not warranted by the laws of a rightful government. Actual governments of this sort are established over districts differing greatly in the extent and conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, they are usually administered directly by military authority, admiralty, and they may be administered also by civil authority, government, local, supported more or less by direct military force. Anybody ever heard of, pay attention, anybody ever heard of, pay attention, anybody ever heard of the National Guard? What happened in Washington, D.C.? What happened in Portland? What happened in California? Do they not call the National Guard? You know the National Guard is military, right? Interesting, ain't it? Now this person says, I spent all day yesterday researching the above case. I've come to the conclusion that we are indeed under the jurisdiction of military authority. I didn't even need to go over the case. I could have shown you by just the National Emergency Act, administered by civil authority, and that the courts run America. Court martials. It goes all the way back to before the revolution. Of course it does. International treaties codified into law and the superior domestic laws. as stated in the Supreme Court, started at the time of the Revolution. Wait. You mean Prince was there? Anyway, no transfer of American soil from the Crown. The colonies were British Crown corporations. Washington, D.C. became the mother court, and the colonies became her incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't go by that right there, because there is nothing that says that. This is what, because of the way it's worded, that is not law. So you cannot go by that. Okay, peace was never declared after the Civil War, but it also never declared after the Korean War or the Vietnamese War. Just a cessation of hostilities. Okay? The national constitution has been suspended, but they don't have the authority to suspend the constitution. It's as a result of Congress putting in, habeas corpus shall not be suspended. Because they put in habeas corpus shall not be suspended, that's where they claim they get the right to suspend the Constitution. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go here. However, since our de facto government won't tell us this, we are still functioning under the belief that the Constitution are de jure. I still think we can challenge, under the absence of laws, of the remedy. So absent of law is the remedy theory. Absence of law, ladies and gentlemen. There is no law. Military rule is not law. Just exactly what is this theory? As I said before, all law has to be certified as constitutional by the state Supreme Court before it can be implemented. When charged with violating a law, one should subpoena the certification of the act by the state Supreme Court. When brought into court, you should be subpoenaing. I just asked the guy today, why hasn't he subpoenaed this and why he hasn't subpoenaed that? He's due to be in court in December. Ladies and gentlemen, get your subpoenas. You have a right to subpoenas. One should also subpoena the Attorney General for the state to testify as to the constitutionality of the act. One should also subpoena the Attorney General to testify as to the constitutionality of the act. Because the law will not be certified as constitutional, and the state Attorney General will not certify the constitutionality of the act. Nothing remains but for the court to dismiss your case because it doesn't charge a law. I've used this technique as a firearm violations case in which the defendant, if found guilty, would have spent or been given 40 years in jail. Instead, on the day of his trial, he was called to the bench and told that his case was being dismissed. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been telling you guys that for the last couple of months. The code is not law. You keep hearing me say statutes are not law. You keep hearing me say that over and 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 over again. This is why I'm saying it. I'm sorry. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, because you guys keep hearing me say the same thing over and over and over again. I don't care about de jure money. I don't care about de jure army. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't go about all of this stuff. I stick to the law, the facts. Okay? So, absence of law is the remedy. That should be the title of your motion. Ladies and gentlemen, you have my word that I will put together a motion sometime this weekend. Okay? To give you guys a template for which you can rely upon so that you don't have to come up with anything. Okay? I will put together the case law from case text for you. Okay? I will do what these individuals here at Freedom School did for you. Let's read this case right here. It says 50 years ago, the court pointed out the essential relationship between rights and remedies. Nothing can be more material to an obligation than the means of enforcement. Without the remedy, the contract may indeed, in the sense of the law, be said not to exist. Ladies and gentlemen, they've stolen our remedy when it comes to arbitration. You follow me? You see where I'm going? And its obligation will fail within the class of those morals and societal duties which depend upon their fulfillment wholly upon the will of the individual, whoever wants to be the dictator. The ideas of validity and remedy are inseparable. The ideas of validity and remedy are inseparable. These idiots have been calling SAA and myself a fraud without giving us an opportunity to defend ourselves. And both are parts of the obligation, which is guaranteed by the Constitution against invasion. Yes, nobody can invade a contract between two parties. The courts don't have that authority. The obligation of contract is the law in which binds the parties to perform their agreement. It's called a performance agreement. Well, the contract with the government is the Constitution. Okay? So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I just need you guys to understand absence of the law is your remedy. And they actually put some IRS stuff here too for y'all. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and eat up Family Guardian and freedom-school.com. You know what? I give good love. Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this song right here, it just takes you back. Okay. The late 80s and 90s. Ladies and gentlemen. Whoo. All right. Here are the rules, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to follow the rules. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Anyone claiming an interest in a pending litigation may at any time be permitted to assert a right by intervention, but the intervention shall be in subordination to and in recognition of the proprietary means of proceeding, unless otherwise ordered by the court in its discretion. The next rule, discretionary proceedings to review certified questions from federal courts. I have a class action lawsuit I'm getting ready to go into. Ladies and gentlemen, let me show you. I give good law. It's called the Plata case. This is against CDCR, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. This thing is 56 pages long. This is a motion that I've been working on for over 3 weeks. You better believe it will have that challenge attached in my intervention, because that's exactly an interested party and class member. Because I'm going to be representing the statewide prison population as identified by, and this is 4 different cases in one, ladies and gentlemen. You got Plata, you got Brown, you got Coleman, you got, Armstrong, and you got Plata, Brown, Coleman, and, come on, Perez. 4 different cases. You better believe I'm going to be hallelujah, okay? Because I promised some of the men who were there, who were being treated so harshly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could only see what they did to these people, I told them that I would be there to help them. And I still got some of them calling me up, and I'm answering and responding to them as best I can. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is me telling you, I will put together a motion for those of you who got pending cases. You will be able to use that motion. You can change up, add whatever you want, keep that junk, that sovereign citizen bolt out of it. Okay? We're only going to use the court cases. Okay, now watch this. We're going to do one last thing. Come on now. Oh, no, we're not going to hear it. No, I need to go. We're going to travel here. John Legend, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like I told all of you, John Legend is all right. I did not like him at first because Oprah Winfrey was sitting up there putting him on a pedestal, and I could not stand that. I don't want nobody to tell me who to like. I don't want nobody to tell me who to listen to. And I got many of you trying to tell me, have you listened to such and such? I ain't got no time for that. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying, people? I want to make my own decisions. That's what's called being a grown man. You know, I have a bunch of people who are not my color talking about, I'm a grown mother man. They'll make comments like that. Look here, idiots, you're not even saying it right. Okay? That's ignorance and stupidity all wound up in racism, and it's your bad, morons. I apologize. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be here. So open up the right window. Lord have mercy. That's what I'm looking for. What you gonna do? He gonna stay, y'all. I have quite a bit of John and quite a bit of Darius from Hootie and them fishes that like to puff and huff and get houses knocked down. Sorry that we're going to go just above an hour with this, but this information I think is important for you. I have quite a few people who are going through legal matters, quite a few people who are in jail who have access to watching some of the videos, quite a few people throughout the United States, not just California. Quite a few people who are going through court cases right now. I've been on the phone with 2 people today, 3 people by email today alone. Okay? That's why I don't want to just do debt, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to be locked into one thing and one thing only. Oh, I'm sorry, I did the wrong thing. See? Hey, Michael! Just another part of me, y'all. And if you guys just ever get the opportunity, take the time and listen to the song. Don't think about it being by Michael. Have a sound system, turn it up, and just listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm. We're taking over! Listen to the energy he puts in this song. This is the reason why this album did what it did. Okay? It wasn't because it was Michael, it's because of the energy he put in each song. He literally, if they weren't borrowing from him when they did Empire, because I'm pretty positively certain that they borrowed from him when they did Empire, because I can see a lot of the things he talked about in what they're talking about in Empire. I'm pretty much finished with the series. I'm in the 6th season, and most of the last, I got 4 more episodes to do, and I've already seen them. I've been watching as of late Raising Dion. You know, there's so much they could have done with that show, but they tried to make it funny. That was the stupid part. They didn't have to do that. There is nothing in the world they needed to do making that thing funny. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pause y'all. Oh, okay. In all the life we did for you. What? You're just another part of me. Oh, look at this. You see how long it's taken? Come on now. See, when I say I'm going to pause it, then it wants to catch up. So I'm going to pause y'all. If it lets me. Y'all have to excuse me for a second. I've been having some neighbors drive by, and I'm about to go check it out. It won't let me pause. Well, I ain't gonna let it win over me. We're gonna do it one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, what I had to do is I had to feed the dogs. I was supposed to feed them at 5. It's 5:38. So I have fed them, and they went to sleep, so they weren't even bothering me. But it wasn't until I brought them outside that I realized, wait a minute, they haven't ate. Because I ate lunch. And I didn't eat breakfast, but I did eat lunch. And I ate a late lunch. And so I'm not hungry. So I forgot all about them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I put in the national emergency information, and I want you all to try that as well with case text. Take part of the information regarding the the extraordinary and all that, and put in the case text and see what they have said, because this individual has brought it up in this case in 2021, outlined similar emergency declaration of power by local governments if certain conditions support it. Local government may declare an emergency by the governing body of any of the local government units. Okay, national emergencies and local emergencies are what they're using to control everybody. That's why you don't have any rights, ladies and gentlemen, because they're presuming that the law passed by Congress dealing with national emergency have been passed lawfully. Challenge the law, challenge the National Emergency Act along with your motion to court challenging it. You can do it in civil and you can do it in criminal court. Challenge the act, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now they're going to tell you that's only in certain circumstances. Well, Presidential Proclamation 2039 says different. March 9, 1933 Act says different. It says during a national emergency. Are we not currently in a national emergency? And what about the NDAA? Does it not declare a national emergency yearly, annually? Does it not continue the emergency? As authorized by the, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, the national emergency declared by that act allows for the national emergency to continue yearly, December 31st of each year at 12 midnight. Okay? That's just it. You guys need to understand that. Well, look at that. I did not know about the Home Rule Act, which requires that in order to enact, anyway, emergency legislation, the council must find that the emergency circumstances exist which requires immediate legislative action. Ladies, go ahead, and all of you just realize Congress has certified the emergency declared by the president. I didn't say this, they said it. As a result of the existing emergency, they continue to say that, do they not? Okay, the Supreme Court, it's not up to the Supreme Court to recognize the national emergency. Congress, the president introduced it, Congress signed it. That's a 2/3 majority. The Supreme Court ain't got nothing to do with it. That's why you've seen every case that was challenging anything associated with the March 9, 1933 Act, the Go Repeal Act, everything that was challenging that, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the government. Why? Because it was a 2/3 majority. Now it's a solid majority. Okay? Such emergency clauses must state not only the grave problem, but because of the effect of the clause is to allow an act to become effective upon passage. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll see that the March 9, 1933 Act does not require any such documentation. It just needs the president to declare a national emergency. That's why it is a presidential proclamation, a declaration of national emergency, which is, I don't understand Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump had all of that power, and he was saying that he was going to use it, and he did not do it. Shame on him. I guarantee you he wish he had. Now, okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's Tevin Campbell in the background. Wait with me, yeah. It's called Just Ask Me To. Just Ask Me To. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents, I said we were only going to go a little bit over an hour. But I think that this information will be beneficial to all of you who have a ongoing court case. I suggest that you try this. I will put forth the motion for you. I will do a video this weekend or Monday morning, but you will get it. I don't have a lot of time. There's a lot going on, but I will try. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents, I gotta go. Y'all take care. Stay out of trouble. Stay safe. And just, there's so much we need to talk about. Y'all take care, okay? Gotta go.